Hey y'all, it's Betsy from Cuttin Corners Vinyl in Nederland, Texas, and I figured I'd do another bonus video this week because I had a lot of people asking about doing a 4th of July look for makeup. So I figured this would be something kind of fun and different. Let's start that over. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Hey y'all, it's Betsy from Cuttin Corners Vinyl in Nederland, Texas, and today I have a fun video for you. I had someone request me do a red, white, and blue look for 4th of July, so I figured we'd do a different bonus video over it because these don't count as the tutorials for my vinyl stuff, but they are still fun to do, and y'all know I love me some makeup. So the first thing I'm going to do is my skin is nice and clean and moisturized, but I'm taking some Scotch tape because we're gonna do a little bit more dramatic of an eye. And I'm going to lay this at an angle to create nice sharp lines for my eyes. Now, if you didn't notice what I was doing, I was taking the Scotch tape and just kind of sticking it on my finger so it's not so sticky, so it doesn't hurt that sensitive eye area, or not hurt that sensitive eye area, but it doesn't cause like to rip my eye area around my eyes. I just said eyes a lot of times in a row, sorry. I had to go to the doctor the other day to get some medicine, and I'm just using the Milani eyeshadow primer. This is a good base, and we're just gonna play with some red, white, and blue. So I'm on steroids and antibiotics, and so my brain does not seem to want to function properly. So as you can see, I just laid down the Milani base, and I'm going to do one blue eye and one red eye. So I'm going to first take my Ace Beauté Oceanic palette right here, and I'm going to dip into the shade Bali, and that is going to be my transition shade because I want something that is in the blue family, but I don't want it to be like too deep to start with. So we're going to start with Bali, and then we will add some more depth to the eye. And I figure I'll do the blue eye top first, and then we'll move over and do the red eye. Just something a little bit different. So just kind of building that up where it has that smoky bluish gray kind of color, because that's what that Bali shade reminds me of. It's almost like a true cornflower or Columbia blue. And I'm just using an Anastasia dual-ended brush that came with another palette. And now I'm going to take and go into this shade right here called Blue Clam, which is almost like a, well, it isn't almost, it is a very, very true royal blue shade. And I'm almost kind of winging that out just a little bit. So as you can see, using that tape to cause a nice sharp line, and I'm using more of the smudger side of the brush to really pack on some pigment. And if y'all know, I love makeup just as much as vinyl, so I figured this would be kind of fun. And I typically did this on my second channel, but it got to be too much to sit there and try to do 8 videos a week, especially with Craftsmas coming up again. And it was like, well, we're just gonna kind of join the two. Now I'm just taking the fluffier side of the brush and just kind of going over the edges where I laid that blue clam color, just to soften up the edges and blend everything together. Now what I'm going to do, just to deepen up that outer crease a little bit, I'm taking that same smudger side of the Anastasia brush, and I'm going into this navy blue shade called Lagoon, and just focusing that almost as like a winged eyeliner, just deepening up that outer crease. And then just take the fluffy side again and blend all together. Now, I don't think I'm gonna do a full-on cut crease today, but I do have a Pat McGrath. This is the Violet Crystallina Microfine Pigment, and it looks something like this. And this is just some Maya Cosmetics glitter glue. And I'm just gonna apply this on the front portion of my lid, so that way this pigment has something to stick to and it will show up nice and bright. And then I'm just taking this Morphe kind of flat paddle brush. It doesn't have a number on this one. I think this one came in a set. And I'm just placing that over where I laid down the glitter glue. And it's almost a violety white, so it has some real pretty shift to it. And I figured that this would kind of blend both of these eye looks together. And this is not, you know, this is more of a fun 4th of July look. This is not anything basic. And I know some people think that when you put on a lot of color, it can have a clown eye effect, which is completely up to you on what you like to do, but I like color. So as you can see, that base is down. Now I'm gonna go back into that Lagoon shade and just kind of gently tap and blend right there, so it brings those two colors together. Okay, so the top of that eye is done, so I can go ahead and remove my tape. So as you can see how nice and pretty and sharp that looks. Now we're gonna go ahead and do our red side. Oh, no, wanna leave that on. So I pulled out a few palettes that have red shades in them because I don't have like the Blue Blood palette by Jeffree Star that is true red. So I pulled out the Jaclyn Hill Ring the Alarm palette. I pulled out the Juvia's Place Zulu palette, or the Festival palette. And then I also pulled out my Melt Cosmetics Impulsive palette. So I think what I'm gonna start with to kind of give me a little bit of a transition shade is I'm going to go ahead and go into, and I'm using another Anastasia dual-ended brush out of a palette. And I'm gonna go into this shade right here, Rush, from the Ring the Alarm palette. Now I know it's not truly a red, but it'll give that same, as you can see, transition to give me something to fade that red into, because it has a red base to it. So it's more of a red based orange. Just to kind of give that same look on the opposite eye. Blend that together. So that is what that looks like. Now I'm going to go into the Festival palette, and I'm going to go into the shade right here called Izapha, I think is how you say it. And I'm going to go into that smudger end on the Anastasia brush. And apply that all throughout my crease. And all the palettes I picked today, I really, really like all of the shades. So, and I think they're very good quality palettes. The Ace Beauté, that one is a newer palette to me. And as you can see, I'm just building that red up quite a bit, blending out the edges. So see how nice that blends out with that orange shade? So you still get the red color, and it's a true red. And now I'm gonna dip back into it and pack on the pigment, since that is all now kind of blended out. So as you can see, that's kind of what the plan is. Now let's see. I think I'm gonna go into the Melt Cosmetics Impulse palette, and the shade right here called Boss Lady. It is almost a plummy red shade. I think that'll be a nice deepness to my crease and still keep it in the red family and still go along with, it's almost like a burgundy to keep it in the red family without being too red. So just as you can see, same thing, blending it in. Now I'm going to take and dust that off and add just the tiniest bit more of that Isabelle color to make that a little bit more red instead of purple. There we go. Okay, so what do you think so far? And if you notice, my knuckle is all kinds of purple. We went to the gym yesterday and I was hitting a punching bag and hit it wrong and did something and bruised my knuckle. Now I'm going to go back into my Maya glitter glue and do that same Pat McGrath pigment on the front of this eye. And if you notice, blending this in with the red on this side makes it have much more of a pinky violet, where on this side, where it's over the blue, it has more of that like more true purpley undertone to it. And when you're doing an intense eye look like this, I always recommend to do your eyes first and then jump into your face makeup, because if you mess up on your eye when you're doing something like this, you can easily wipe it off and start over versus trying to wipe off your entire face. So now I'm just taking that, I think that's how you say it, the Isafa color again, and just taking and blending the edges of where I have that pigment to that color. So as you can see, it kind of looks like that. And I'm no makeup artist, just so you know. I mean, I love playing with makeup, but I am definitely not a makeup artist. I mean, I can do some pretty cool looks, but this is not my forte, it's just my passion. So now we've got the base for the eyes done. So I'm gonna go ahead and put on some primer, and this is the Cover FX blurring primer. It is more of like a silicone based primer. It's really nice and pore filling, and my skin has been liking using this lately. Especially, I just started using some new Ordinary skincare, so my skin, other than I got a little bit of breakouts because the first night I was sick, I forgot to take my makeup off and I got a little bit of breakouts. But my skin looks really good compared to what it does a lot of days. You know, aging sucks. And then I'm going to be using the Pure Love My Selfie foundation in TN3. I really love this foundation, and this is like my perfect shade match. I was so excited because it is so difficult for me to find a perfect shade match. And what we're going to do on the eyes as well is we're going to take and do opposites underneath. So just something a little bit different, a little bit fun. I want to keep those lines nice and sharp. What do you think so far, Cam? Cameron's walking around.
Good.
You really think so, or you think it looks crazy?
I think it looks good.
And I have some other videos I'm going to try to get filmed today for next week. Since next week's a holiday, I want to try to get some stuff done early since we will be closed on the 4th. So, and we're going to go see Spider-Man on that day. So just kind of blend that out. And I always prefer a sponge for doing my foundation. Now I'm going to jump into the Huda Beauty Tan Tour, and this is in the shade Tan, which is a tad bit dark for me. When I bought it, they didn't have any of the medium. So I've learned to go, it's like a cream product, but I've learned to go just a little bit lighter with it, and it works beautifully. So I'm just taking and doing all the areas that I want to contour. Ever so slightly. And then I'm gonna just take that buffing side of the brush. And don't worry if the nose looks a little crazy right now. I'd start off with contour and then I take and put concealer on to make it where it's not so crazy. And make sure you blend under your neck. And using that product under there really helps get rid of your double chin. But it is a nice, cool tone, bronzy shade. So I think it works well on my skin. And y'all know I don't do a whole lot of editing whenever it comes to any video. So if this is long-winded, it's just how I am. But see, now that adds a little bit of warmth back into my face. Now for concealer, I'm using the shade MN5, which is Medium Neutral 5 from the Pure Love My Selfie. I like using this as a concealer and it works well with my undertone. Just to highlight the center of my face. And typically when I start blending out any type of concealer, I blend the centers and then do my under eyes. And then that also helps soften up where I did that tan tour. And one thing I haven't been doing lately is setting my under eye, which has really been helping my under eyes from looking super crepey and dark. So, not dark, but just crepey. As you age, you know, things don't always want to work the way that they used to. And then as you can see, I really kind of toned down that nose contour quite a bit. But you can still see that it's done, but I don't like to have an intense nose contour. So now we're gonna go ahead and close that back up, and we're gonna go in and finish our under eyes. So I'm gonna take the Isava, I cannot say that name, shade. That same red color. and blend that under my eyes on that side. So as you can see, we really have that red, white, and blue. Now I'm going to take my sponge a little bit because that got a little low and blend that in a little bit with my concealer. Now we're going to do the same thing on the opposite eye with the blue clam color. So we're just going to take a little bit of that and blend that in. Okay, and then take my sponge again and go in and soften up that line. So as you can see, that's kind of what it looks like. But this is like my holy grail skin products. It really, really works well for me. Now I'm going to go into my Kat Von D Alchemist palette, which I know Kat Von D is kind of canceled, but I've had this and it works really well for what I'm wanting to do. I'm first taking that blue sapphire shade and using that as my inner corner highlight on the mainly blue eye. Then I'm going to take and use the pink opal shade as my inner corner on the red eye. So that's kind of what it looks like. Now we're gonna go ahead and do some brows, and this is just my IT Cosmetics Brow Power Pencil in Taupe. I always go back to this. This is one of my favorite eyebrow pencils. And you can take and press harder to get more color, or if you go in a little softer, as you can see, it's almost like two brow products in one, how the front looks more feathered in to the back. Okay, now we're gonna do the same thing over on this side. And I know a lot of people, whenever they're doing these tutorials or whatever, they take and don't use or don't do their brows on camera, which a lot of people are interested in how you do your brows. So, see how I'm just lightly filling that front end, and it gives that nice fade. Now, we're gonna add some bronzer, which this is the Natasha Denona, this mini of the Bronze and Glow, and I'm just using a BH Cosmetics Angled number 3 brush. I like this bronzer a whole lot. I think it's a good, nice, warm color for my skin. And I'm from the South, and I want to blend down my neck so everything kind of matches, because if you can't tell, my arms are a whole lot darker than the rest of my face. But I really, really like that. Now I'm gonna take and go into the blush. This is in the shade Matte Nude is the color I'm using on my cheeks. Just a good nude shade. For highlight, we're gonna go into my Holy Grail highlight, which is the Anastasia Amorese highlight. It actually has some dig into it because I've used this so much, which is not something I actually do a whole lot of. Like, I don't actually ever get. And this is the Anastasia A23 highlighter brush. And this would also look super cute if you had some little glitter stars to put under your eyes. I'm not gonna go that crazy with it. But nice, pretty, glowy, summery skin. Okay, so now all that's on, we're gonna go ahead and set the face, because I like to use my setting spray before I do my lips or my mascara, just to keep from any types of runs. So there we go. Take a palette, fan myself off. And then one kind of final step, and this really helps make your makeup stay all day. And that was the Smashbox primer water, which is almost empty. I have setting sprays that I like better, like the MAC Fix Plus, but I was trying to use all that up and just kind of press everything really nice into the skin. So now I'm just gonna take a paper towel, wipe off my lips. There's my lipstick. And I'm using the Pat McGrath Revelation Red Liquid Lipstick because we're doing a red, white, and blue look, so I figured red lips would be fun for this. And this is a true red. Can't talk and do lipstick at the same time, sorry. And I like the shape of the doe foots on her matte liquid lipsticks. It has a nice point to be able to almost line the lips too. And then just to add a little bit of pop, I'm going to take her same pigment and pop a little bit of that onto my lips. So as you can see, it kind of gives that little bit of glow. And last but not least, we're gonna put some mascara on. Go ahead and curl our lashes. And pop on a coat of mascara. Which y'all know, when I typically do makeup, when y'all see me on my channel, I will do a really bold eye and not so bold lip, but this is more of a fun look. This is a party look. Make sure to coat my lashes well. And there we go. Nice, beautiful, glowy skin. And just a really fun 4th of July look. So hopefully you like this video. If you do, give it a big thumbs up. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button right down below. And if you hit the notification bell icon, that will notify you when I post new videos, which is typically Monday through Friday. And then I throw in some bonus videos every once in a while on Fridays or on Saturdays and Sundays. And then we start Christmas and then it is 7 days a week. But I guess that's it for today. So we will see y'all soon. Oh, don't forget to check me out on all my social medias: Facebook, Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram. We'll see y'all later. Bye.